Hello there, and welcome to the latest episode of Articulate Thoughts, which is a personal blog of mine where I talk about thoughts, ideas, experiences, and observations about conscious dance, which is a movement practice that uses dance as a form of moving meditation. And today's topic or idea on the table is breaking a sweat. And it's something that is commonly done on the dance floor, but sometimes not, depending on what's being felt. And I think there's a very intrinsically important element to sweating, just in general. Maybe not so much like particularly to the context of dancing, although it does help a lot. Just like sweating, man, and just like moving the body and just moving the juices and get everything, the blood flowing and everything. And I think there's something very humbling about pushing oneself to a point where the body's exhausted, and it kind of opens up the person in a way, just like a recognition that I am a limited being. I'm in this body that has limits. There's limits, and I'm pushing it to the limit, seeing how far I can take this thing. And I think when that's done physically, naturally, it's done emotionally and mentally as well. And very frequently as of late, I've been talking about the metaphor of mental and emotional development, and there's always like some sort of pain associated with it, because pain is a very you know essential part of growth. And the physical example of it is going to the gym. And let's say you want to be stronger and you want to have big muscles, you got to lift weights. There's no way around it. You got to lift heavy stuff, break down the muscles, and allow it to heal back stronger. And I think it's the same way with emotions and like mentality, like mental thinking and emotions, emotional stability works the same way. And I think in the context of conscious dance and being in a dance situation and pushing yourself to that limit, like I think if an individual shows up to a dance and does not push themselves to a point where they're sweating, then they're not reaping the full benefit that they could be. They're not optimizing the benefit. I'm not saying it. There's no benefit if you don't sweat. It's just there's a little less. And I've been thinking about this a lot more lately because I've been reading this book called "Sweat Your Prayers," and it's written by Gabrielle Roth. Now, if you're in the conscious dance community, Gabrielle Roth is the creator of Five Rhythms, and she's pretty much the OG of conscious dance. Really, things there are other groups out there like Ecstatic Dance and Core Connection, Open Floor, um, and they all kind of stem like the same kind of formula or the same system as the Five Rhythms, which was created by Gabrielle Roth. And this book is very brilliant and it's very fascinating. And I'm reading it little bits at a time because I find it very, very intense. I think that's just more so because of my emotional attachment to the practice, and reading, you know, pretty much the background interpretation of pretty much the creator of all of this stuff, or at least one of the major players in the development of conscious dance and having it globalized. It's a really intense connection to something that I that's important to me. And um, yeah, in the book she talks a lot about the importance of like sweating. And the book is called Sweat Your Prayers. And there's this one particular quote that I wanna share with you guys. I wrote it down on my phone because when I read it, it just resonated very powerfully, and I think it pretty much says, you know, sums up my feeling of how I got involved in dance and what it means to me. But in the book, Gabrielle Roth writes, "The tradition of dancing into ecstasy may have been burned at the stake, but its spirit is rising from those same ashes like a phoenix. You and I were born at the right place at the right time to once again sweat our prayers." And it's very interesting because in the book, she Gabrielle talks about the practice of movement and dance as if it was a spiritual practice. The actual, the name of the book is "Sweat Your Prayers: Movement as Spiritual Practice." And this kind of hits a very emotional spot for me because like lately I've been experiencing this dichotomy of using the conscious dance community as, a place to be social, but dance for me is, it's almost like it is a spiritual practice. So when I go into the space and I want to warm up and I want to, just be by myself and, you know kind of ease into the energy of the dance and just kind of, clear my mind and move my body a little bit, get warmed up, and that process of that dance is very important to me. And as of late, it's becoming increasingly challenging to have that space for myself, because the environment is so socially oriented, and a lot of people would just kind of come up to me and start talking to me, and like it's cool. Like I enjoy socializing with people, and really enjoy having that connection with the community. It's just sometimes my focus is on other things, and it's very obvious that how I treat it and how other people treat it are very different. um, but that's, I guess that's also a learning lesson for me, to draw a boundary and just say, hey, like I just want to, this is this time is important for me, and I just kind of need to be by myself. So that's a learning lesson in itself. But yeah, like breaking a sweat on the dance floor, I personally can say that there's no other method of sweating that's more fun. And when I push myself to that limit, there is a higher sense of consciousness in a weird way. It feels like I'm connected to something, beyond me, which is, I guess, the foundation of any kind of spiritual practice. Is something you do to connect to a higher power, or God, or the universe, or prime creator, however you want to label that thing. So, and also, when I'm at a point of sweating, um, I usually have this habit of kind of going into a child's pose, which is like kind of kneeling on my knees and bending over forward and having my forehead touch the ground, and then I would put my hands open up like this, and it's kind of like a submission, and or just allowing things to, like, releasing control and not having things be so rigid. And when I'm in that state of mind, I usually have a positive affirmation that I kind of slip in there, because like my mind is just very open and receptive to, what's being put forth before me. So why not consciously put an intention for something positive? Yeah, so that's what's on my mind lately. And if you're not doing anything tonight, I will be dancing at the W&M Dance Studios. It's an Inner Journeys Dance Temple, and it starts at 7 p.m. And inshallah, I'll see you on the dance floor.